Hey there, welcome to Michael on the Go, and I am your host, Michael Giannotti. Amplifying corporate events with Microsoft Teams, Stream, and more. So this morning I was sitting there checking my email and stuff for work while I sip my morning coffee, and something that came up was a customer looking at different corporate events that they were running, similar to what we do at Microsoft, right? So at Microsoft, we run things like I'm going to be going to the Digital Transformation Academy and others where we have training and things that take place for people out in the field, and it's a great chance to network, to really catch up technically, get plugged into what's happening. But the issue with these things is a couple of fold. Number one, obviously cost. There's a huge cost to bringing people in for these events. So as a result, it's limited in its exposure. Not everybody necessarily gets to go. You know, we had our big event this summer, Microsoft Ready. I didn't get to go. I haven't been in 2 years. I'll probably get to go in another year. But that impacts my connections, my FaceTime with different folks from corporate, with other colleagues and peers in the field. And so it's limited in its impact. Number two, obviously, again, the costs, bringing a lot of people, if you really want to bring them all in to have a huge impact, you got to ship these people, you got to feed them, blah, 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 because most organizations today are dispersed geographically, even if it's a local, in my case with healthcare and life sciences, a local hospital system, they're still in various areas even of a city. So having said that, when we look at different corporate events, there is a great opportunity to do a couple of things. Number one, to amplify the impact, excitement, and to scale that event well beyond the physical boundaries of the said event. Number two, there is a great opportunity to reduce the cost, right? As we bring in less people possibly physically, the ability to scale virtually is there. And the beauty of all of this is that with Microsoft Office 365, you already own the tools to do all of it. So how do we do that? So we're going to take a look at a couple of things. I'm going to talk through them. We're going to follow this up, I think, with a step-by-step live webcast where you'll be able to ask questions live, and I'll walk through building out a solution, showing you that. But having said that, these are the pieces. So number one, SharePoint, modern web, we're going to talk about. Number two, Microsoft Teams live events. Number three, Microsoft Stream, which is going to be the foundation, the backbone of this whole thing. And also Microsoft Yammer. So what do we do? So number one, SharePoint Online. SharePoint Online, if you set up a modern web communication site, right? Responsive design, it's accessible via the mobile view. It provides a great landing place where you can post out all the events. You can post the calendar of events. People can go ahead and add items to their calendar. They can see what's happening, when it's happening. It's the perfect place, the landing place for both what's upcoming, what's happening now live, which I'll talk through, and what's going to be happening events, whether they're there physically or tuning in virtually. So you set up a communication site. You have a group calendar that you add to that said site. Once you've done that, again, you can post the events, and those links can be to physical rooms as well as to live events that you're going to be hosting that they can attend virtually. So that allows people to go ahead and add items to their calendar and be able to access, whether they're physically there going to a said room, right? A conference room or auditorium style room, whatever the case might be. And then also those who cannot be there physically to be able to set up a series of attendance for them where they can attend virtually, right? So we can set up that group calendar, add that to the site, that communication site, and people can then go ahead and select upcoming and be able to add that to their Outlook calendar and then tune in when it's time, right? Either physically or virtually. Number two, it also allows us to go ahead and to have highlight like the keynote speeches at the beginning of each day, and also the other events that are taking place, where we can actually stream them live and have them embedded in the same site. One-stop shop, one place to go. There is the web part for Microsoft Stream, and if you go in and say add a single video, but then put in the video feed, you can go ahead and put that there, embed it right in. Or again, you can have maybe a synopsis page and have that piece, link to a live event, a Teams live event, and have them go to that. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about Teams and Stream. So it allows you, though, to put this great piece where you're actually not only allowing people to sign up for events, but also be able to attend those events from a one-stop shop. Go to the portal, boom, they're in, they do all that. And then finally, as things are recorded, right, both the live events and from roaming reporters that we're going to talk about in a moment, it's going to have that clearinghouse of all on-demand content that appears dynamically as the event's going on. So you can put that, you can have a section where you show a channel, and then as people are being interviewed as they come out of events, what were the top lessons learned, things like that. Those videos, as soon as they are approved, will start to show up during the event, right? Again, 1-day event, 2-day event, all these things, we're gonna have all this content that's being captured and that's gonna start to appear live. It's going to appear dynamically as the event goes on. The last piece, Yammer. So we can embed Yammer. You can create a event group, and you can create, if you wanted to, you could create them for various subtopics. But I would advocate just create a top-level Yammer group for the event. The 1, 2, 3-day, whatever it is, internal event. And then embed that Yammer feed in the same SharePoint site. And you're going to assign some subject matter experts, some folks who become kind of the curators, moderators, who engage people. They can help to spur on conversation about things happening. They can also, again, reply and continue and help to facilitate and foster kind of viral conversations or ideation around ideas and thoughts that people are having, to really begin to, again, take those live events and now have a jumping point to get things moving and possibly lead to actionable pieces coming out of that. Different people get inspired, have ideas, boom, they've gone ahead and they've crossed organizational boundaries, reached people who are monitoring, conversing with them, furthering the ideas, and then those things can lead on to projects and other things to help with your digital transformation at your organization. So that's the SharePoint site. Next, a booth. So this goes back to the days when at Microsoft, I used to work the booth for our digital academy, and it was led by Paolo Tassolini, big shout out. And what we would do in the booth area was a couple of fold. Number one, it served as a place where people could come up and we would interview them. Again, we had some microphones set up, we had cameras, and then we would go ahead and interview those folks that had been to different events to ask them about that. And we might have 2 or 3 people. So often I'd be standing with a mic, and we'd have a couple of mics with those people standing there. We had a nice background, we had signage, all that stuff to make it flashy, attract attention. And then what we did was we talked about what was going on. What were they learning? Again, their top learnings, right? That stuff was captured and it was uploaded in near real time. They quickly go through, the folks capturing that content, and you could do this with just a PC and some camera. Heck, you could hook up or use something like, a GoPro, right? You don't have to have high-end, super professional equipment. You can do high-quality video now with consumer electronics, capture that content, and again, what are people learning? What are key takeaways? What do people want to see coming out of an event? Tease this stuff out of them and interview them. The second piece, though, that booth served was really to highlight the corporate use of, in this case, it was Digital Academy, but it could be for you, your training solutions, the things you're doing with Microsoft Stream in the enterprise. And we did educational seminars as well, where we had some panels of folks who were active. So I was often on the panel. There was other folks out there that they would bring in, show how they podcasted, etc. But we would demonstrate things. So think of this. Today in your Office 365 instance, you have the ability with PowerPoint, right, to create how-to videos. And I've shown and I've done demonstrations of that. You could demonstrate that, teach people en masse as they're going through how to go ahead and capture tacit knowledge to show their best practices in how to do different functions of their job, so that you can further, a library of content for support and employee self-service. So it's a great piece around that, and to show how you can do that and teach folks how they can, or teach them about the resources you have for training, etc. So, again, it's highlighting what you're doing. It's showing that your organization is out there. You are driving digital transformation, leveraging the power of video as a medium to drive organizational transformation, and you're capturing content and again amplifying the event. And that content's going to be available on the central portal to anybody, whether they're physically live there or remote. So second piece, so we had SharePoint, then we had the booth area, right? And again, we can highlight equipment and other things there, whole range of things. We'll talk more about that in another video. Next, after that, Microsoft Teams live events. As every different talk is going on, different talk tracks, they're often in different areas. You can go ahead and very simply create some mobile workstations using laptops, some basic audio equipment, and then a killer low-cost solution like Logitech's Rallycam or others, so you can create some of these mobile workstations and you can stream those talks live. Again, that's why I was saying with Microsoft Teams live events, you can set up the live events. You can add then the link in that same calendar entry where you indicate where it'll be physically, attend remotely. Boom. They just click the link, they can go through their browser or through Teams, and they can view the event live. Furthermore, you can take it one step further. When you have Q&A with the live audience there at the place, moderated Q&A is available through Teams live events. So you can then tee up additional ones where you ask questions and field ones from the field to the speaker, again, without them having to be there. So now you have interactivity both for the people there physically as well as remotely. And again, you've now scaled the impact and the reach of that talk live, right? At no cost, because we don't charge anything extra for that. And then on top of that, not only have you scaled it, but the whole thing is then available. You can make it available as an on-demand recording, again, in that same portal after the fact. So we've done some great things there. That's Teams live events, Microsoft Stream, right? Microsoft Stream is really the foundation of all this stuff, because that's where all the video content is going for the live events. And there's a couple of things that you can do. Number one, I already talked about, if you're setting up a booth area, we can go ahead and record things there by some specially trained folks, and then we can shoot that content up. Now, if you're worried about anybody with the posting of the live content, as far as the content quality or any potential issues with it, you can do, and I've already talked about this in a past video. I'll provide the links below around using learning pathways, etc. For training. But you can set up 2 channels. Set up a stream private channel where all video content on demand is uploaded to, and then set up a public channel, an all company channel, that's the one that you embed in the SharePoint site. Once you've done that, you can go ahead, post the videos to the private channel. They're reviewed by some designated reviewers throughout the day, and if it's multi-day, that night too, because you want to keep that stuff coming. You want it dynamic, right? And you can also promote ones throughout the day on your homepage and other stuff. But you want to go ahead, have people quick reviewing those things, and then it's just a change of state to add it to the other channels. So very simple workflow. And I showed how to do that. I'll provide a link to that in the full post below. But you can go ahead, set that up, and then you can do a couple of other things, right? So not only can we capture and stage stuff, number one, for those keynotes, we can actually embed, if we use for the keynotes with a special setup and an external encoder, we can embed the live keynote talk tracks on our portal page and have people go there and see it without having to go out to Microsoft Teams, and have a very slick produced piece that's going to appear in the portal. Number two, and this is the biggie, with Microsoft Stream, you get the Stream mobile app. Designate folks in your organization to be roving reporters. Those are the folks that are going to go out. I'm on an iPhone right now. You can have an iPhone and Android. Look, mobile is pervasive, and with that mobile app, they can go out, they can go to the events, and they can capture little snippets, or better yet, what they do is stand outside the door, and as people are exiting, pull people aside, right? And they can go ahead and do some quick interviews. What did you get out? Hey, what was this event about? What did you get out of it? What were the top 3 key takeaways that you want to go out and implement with your folks in your org? And so you can capture, again, that tacit knowledge, that all that information is going to be full text indexed in Stream, right? We can even do facial recognition and do all kinds of great stuff. But then they take those right from their phone. They can upload those as soon as they're done and the next sessions are starting. Quickly upload those into Stream in the private channel or straight to the public one, whichever you prefer. But they can go ahead and do that. And again, it provides that real-time dynamic capture that amplifies the event, allows people to see things. And then, subsequently, if you want, you can republish those on different pages or on the portal, whatever you want, but have them dynamically show in the channel that's on that communication site you set up for the event, and bam, you've got great content you're capturing, again, that can lead to actionable pieces post-event. So Stream provides that backbone for all of it. If you're worried about for the live streaming pieces, if you're worried about corporate saturation of bandwidth, right, for all the remote attendees that might start tuning into live and other pieces, don't. You can hook up with one of our ECDN providers who can provide, like Collective or Hive and others, who plug right in natively with Microsoft Stream that allows you to scale that and minimize the bandwidth traffic through your firewalls for any live content. Finally, last thing, Yammer, and I already briefly touched on it, but Yammer provides that great corporate, large-scale spanning topical discussion framework. And so you can go ahead, you can create one or more discussion groups. If there's different topical areas people are going to be talking about, then you can create multiple groups. But take those same Yammer groups and then embed them within that corporal portal. And again, people can organically discover and learn how to, start using Yammer right through the SharePoint interface. And most importantly, assign some folks to be kind of moderators, curators in that group or groups, so that they can foster discussion, foster ideation and discussions, so that we can take things that are happening and people are posting and move beyond just, the excitement and the things that people learn, but hey, how do we follow up and start connecting people coming out of here to the other people that they need to connect with to take an actionable idea into digital transformation? It's all possible, and you own it all if you got Office 365. So, been talking for almost 20 minutes. Think about it. If you have Office 365, leverage the power. SharePoint Online, Microsoft Teams, live events. Heck, you can even do a full virtual conference using Teams if you wanted to, right? If you can't afford to bring people in anymore, don't give up on the conferencing or the events. Set up a Microsoft Teams and limit the amount of people in a room, but record it and then post it on or you can even use Teams live events, but you can do a whole thing virtual. But SharePoint Online, Microsoft Teams, Teams live events, Microsoft Stream as that backbone to that digital content that we're going to bring forth, and then finally pulling in Yammer to facilitate discussion, ideation, and moving from thought to action. With that, this is Michael on the go, bidding you have a great day. Look for a live event to be set up to talk further and demonstrate all this step by step in the future. Bidding you have a great day. Take care, and as always, ciao.